If you are staring at your apartment balcony right now and thinking there is just no way to grow real food with zero yard space, you are completely wrong. The biggest myth in container gardening is that you need land to harvest fresh produce. If you pick the right ultra-compact, forgiving plants and put them in a pot today, you can absolutely pull in a real, edible harvest from nothing more than a windowsill, a fire escape, or a tiny concrete patio. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about the zero-footprint garden. Many apartment dwellers give up on growing food the day they sign a lease without a backyard. They assume that without raised beds, without in-ground soil, without a single patch of grass, the whole hobby is closed off to them. But this is exactly backwards. By choosing plants that are biologically programmed to thrive in tight quarters, you can turn a 4-foot balcony, a kitchen counter, or a south-facing window into an absolute food factory that produces fresh harvests every single month of the year. In this video, we are counting down 3 ultra-compact container plants specifically chosen for people who have no backyard at all. If you set these up right now, you will be pulling in real, fresh food in as little as 7 to 60 days, depending on which one you pick. Let's dive into the countdown and put that empty windowsill to work. Microgreens. At number 3, we have microgreens. The absolute fastest turnaround crop in existence and the perfect gateway into growing your own food when you literally have zero outdoor space. When most people think about growing vegetables, they picture soil beds, sunshine hours, and months of waiting. Microgreens completely throw that rulebook out the window. They are not full-sized vegetables. They are the tender, intensely flavored seedlings of regular vegetables like radish, broccoli, and peas, harvested at just 1 to 2 inches tall, long before the plant ever tries to mature. The timeline is nothing short of shocking. From the moment you scatter the tiny seeds across a shallow tray of potting mix, you are looking at 7 to 14 days until harvest. Some varieties, especially radish microgreens, can be cut and eaten in as little as 6 to 10 days from sowing. That is faster than a grocery store delivery. The container mechanics are almost embarrassingly simple. You do not need a fancy setup. A shallow food-safe tray, a baking sheet, or even a takeout container with drainage holes punched in the bottom is more than enough. You only need about 1 to 2 inches of seedling mix. You scatter the seeds thickly across the surface, press them down so they make contact with the soil, mist them heavily with a spray bottle, and then cover the tray with a second dark tray for 2 to 3 days to force germination in the dark. Once the seeds pop, you uncover them and place the tray on the sunniest windowsill you have, ideally one that gets 6 to 8 hours of light. If your window is dim, a cheap LED grow light positioned about 12 inches above the tray for 12 to 16 hours a day will absolutely do the trick. After germination, the greens only need about 8 to 10 hours of light daily to finish out. The reward of your first microgreens harvest is genuinely exciting. You walk over with a pair of scissors, shear the entire canopy about half an inch above the soil line, and walk away with a small mountain of vibrant, intensely flavored greens. Toss them onto eggs, blend them into a smoothie, or scatter them across a homemade pizza. Because every variety tastes like a concentrated version of the mature plant, a tiny pinch of radish microgreens hits like a whole radish smashed into one leaf. They are also packed with nutrients, often containing 4 to 40 times higher concentrations of vitamins and antioxidants than the mature vegetable, according to several peer-reviewed studies out of the University of Maryland. And here is the part that makes them perfect for no backyard growers. You can keep a rotation going all year long, indoors, in any climate, in any apartment. The minute you finish a tray, you soak the leftover root mat out, refill the container with fresh soil, and start another. You essentially build a perpetual indoor farm on a single shelf. Tiny Tim cherry tomatoes. At number 2 is the Tiny Tim cherry tomato. The most rewarding bite-sized harvest you can pull from a tiny patio pot, and one of the only tomato varieties on Earth that was genuinely bred for windowsills and small balconies. Standard cherry tomato plants are massive, sprawling monsters. A single indeterminate vine can easily stretch 6 to 8 feet long, demand heavy stakes or cages, and consume an entire raised bed just to stay alive. That is a non-starter if you are working with a 3-foot balcony or a single sunny window. The Tiny Tim variety was specifically bred to solve this exact problem. The plant tops out at roughly 12 to 16 inches tall, with a tight bushy growth habit and short internodes. It does not sprawl, it does not require staking of any real consequence, and it absolutely pumps out full-sized, classic red cherry tomatoes. Because the plant channels 100% of its energy into producing fruit instead of building endless vines, the harvest timeline is shockingly fast. From the day you transplant a starter seedling into your container, you are looking at roughly 55 to 65 days until your first ripe tomato. Some growers report pulling the very first fruits a few days earlier, around the 50-day mark, depending on temperature. The container mechanics are ideal for apartment life. Because the mature plant stays so small, you can grow a full, productive tomato plant in a container as small as 3 gallons. A standard 6-inch decorative patio pot also works in a pinch, regardless of your climate, but you absolutely need to set it in the single sunniest spot you control, ideally a south-facing balcony, a fire escape, or the brightest window in your home. Tomatoes demand heat. They demand light. They demand at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sun every single day. If your indoor light is weak, the plant gets leggy, the fruit fails to set, and the whole experiment collapses. Pair the pot with a simple tomato cage from the dollar store, water consistently so the soil stays evenly moist but never soggy, and feed it with a balanced liquid fertilizer every 2 weeks once flowers appear. The cherry tomatoes are self-pollinating, so the plant does not need bees. A light shake of the pot every few days is enough to distribute the pollen indoors. Picture this on a Sunday afternoon in your apartment. You are sitting by the window with a snack plate, and instead of buying those bland, expensive plastic clamshells at the grocery store, you reach over and pluck 3 perfect, sun-warmed cherry tomatoes straight off the vine of your Tiny Tim plant, sitting right there on the balcony rail. The skins are thin, the sugar content is high, and the flavor absolutely crushes anything shipped in a refrigerated truck. Because the plant is determinate, meaning it produces its entire crop in a roughly 2-week concentrated flush, the harvest feels like an event. You get a sudden burst of perfect snacking tomatoes, then the plant wraps up its cycle, and you can swap the pot out for the next one. You have seen the speed of microgreens and the rewarding bite of Tiny Tim tomatoes. But as we move into our number 1, we are shifting gears to something even more valuable for the no-backyard grower. We are looking at the one plant that is so aggressively productive, so forgiving of neglect, and so impossible to kill, that it is genuinely the closest thing to free food a city dweller can grow. If you have ever failed at keeping a houseplant alive, this one is for you. Mint, at number 1, securing the crown as the king of zero backyard gardening, is mint, a furiously productive, almost absurdly forgiving herb that will absolutely flood your kitchen with fresh leaves year after year, with practically zero effort and zero outdoor space. If you walk into a grocery store and buy fresh mint for cocktails or tea, you already know the problem. A single clamshell costs $3 to $4, half of it wilts in the fridge within 3 days, and the flavor is pale compared to what real mint tastes like when it is picked 60 seconds before you use it. Mint solves that problem forever, and it is genuinely one of the easiest edible plants on the planet to keep alive. The reason gardeners across the internet constantly warn you never, ever to plant mint directly in the ground of a backyard is actually a clue about how mint grows and how powerful it is. In open soil, mint is so aggressive that its root system, called rhizomes, will spread underground like a creeping vine and choke out every other plant in the bed within a single season. It is basically a botanical bully. But that same biological aggression is an absolute superpower when you confine it to a pot. All of that aggressive, horizontal, take-over-the-world energy gets redirected into producing a constant, relentless flush of fresh, fragrant, deeply flavored leaves right above the soil line. The container mechanics are beautifully simple. Because mint has a wide, spreading root system, you want a pot that is at least 8 to 10 inches in diameter, though a 12 to 14-inch container is even better if you have the space. Drainage holes are mandatory because mint absolutely hates sitting in soggy soil. Fill the pot with a normal, well-draining potting mix. Plant one starter mint cutting or small nursery plant right in the center, set it on the windowsill or balcony, and the plant takes it from there. Mint is one of the few culinary herbs that genuinely tolerates partial shade, so it does not even need the absolute sunniest window in your apartment. A spot that gets 4 to 6 hours of light is plenty to keep it pumping out leaves. Within a couple of weeks of planting, you will notice the stems shooting out horizontally in every direction, branching off aggressively, and absolutely filling the pot with a dense, fragrant canopy. The harvest technique is the part that makes mint the ultimate lazy gardener's dream. You never pull the whole plant. You simply pinch or snip off the top few inches of any stem, right above a set of leaves. The plant reads that cut as a signal to branch out from below, immediately producing 2 fresh stems where you cut one. The more you harvest, the bushier and more productive the plant becomes. You can essentially walk over to your kitchen windowsill every single day, snip a small handful of leaves, drop them into your tea, your cocktail, your salad, or your dessert, and the plant keeps growing right back. This is a perpetual generator of fresh flavor, running on nothing more than a small pot, a little water, and a windowsill. From a culinary standpoint, fresh mint at this level is genuinely transformative. Mojitos become something else entirely. The mint in your morning water tastes bright, clean, and intensely aromatic in a way the grocery store stuff never does. You can dry the excess harvest and jar it for winter. You can steep huge batches of fresh mint tea for the cost of pennies. And because the plant is genuinely so resilient, you will be harvesting from the exact same pot for years without ever needing to replant. Do not let the absence of a backyard convince you that growing real food is off the table for you. Zero outdoor space is not the end of the line. It is the starting gun for ultra-compact, container-based growing. By stacking a tray of microgreens on a shelf for 7-day harvests, a tiny Tim tomato on the sunniest window for 60-day snacks, and a single mint plant on your kitchen counter for a perpetual flavor supply, you can completely transform the food situation in any apartment, anywhere, in any climate, all year long. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 0 backyard crops are you going to set up first? Are you going for the 7-day speed of the microgreens on your windowsill? The 60-day reward of the tiny Tim tomato on your balcony? Or the perpetual fresh mint right on your kitchen counter? Let me know your game plan down in the comments below. If you learned a new approach today and want to keep stretching your food budget with creative container setups, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, grab a small pot, find your sunniest window, and happy growing.